everyone, it's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So this is my take on the astrology for March 2025. Interesting month, right? So this is starting our eclipse season. So all of March has two eclipses, one in Virgo and one in Aries. But wait, there's more. We have both Mercury and Venus going retrograde, and we have the spring equinox, and finally, we have Neptune ingressing or going into Aries at the end of the month. So let's get into it. So we'll start off on the 2nd of March, where we will have Venus going retrograde, and it will go retrograde at 10 Aries, 50 minutes. And this is significant because we're talking about what? When we're talking about Venus, we're talking about women, anything pertaining to women, but we're also talking about money and values. So right when we kick off the beginning of March, these things are going to be coming up to be reviewed, right, during the retrograde. Both Mercury and Venus, kind of in tandem, are going retrograde at similar degrees. And likewise, they're going direct at similar degrees in Pisces in April. I'll cover that more in April, but just to give you a heads up on that. All right. So we have, for the USA anyway, the 9th of March, our clocks go forward as well, just to confuse us a little bit more, right? So the first eclipse that's going to happen will be in Virgo. It will be at 23 Virgo, 56 minutes, which rounded up to about 24 degrees Virgo. So that's the moon. But because it's a full moon, that means the sun is in the opposite sign at the same degrees, but in Pisces instead. So look to see if you've got anything, say, around 24 degrees, firstly of Virgo, and then opposite sign, which is Pisces. In terms of what kind of transits go with this, we have that moon, the full moon, conjunct the south node. And this is in Virgo. And if we think about, well, what's Virgo all about? Virgo can be about our health. It can be about important facts or important information. Mercury rules Virgo, so we look to where is Mercury. And so when I looked at the moon conjuncting the south node, I thought that potentially there's going to be important facts come from the past. South node is the past, as well as the moon, by the way. That's something to do with a health crisis. Now, we've already got something ongoing. I'm making this video kind of mid-February 2025. So there is something going on right now. But this is going to bring it to a big head, right? But it can also have to do with just straight off important past information and facts come to light, right? And if we look at other things that are happening, we've got that moon opposite Saturn. And so this is saying follow the rules and regulations as I say them. So those in command of, say, old institutions, or they have the rules and regulations that they can exert on you, they're going to be doing it at this full moon. Now, nicely, we have a setup of Uranus trining the moon, and then, of course, sextiling the sun. But honestly, even though this is a trine, and it's certainly favorable energy, because Uranus's energy is sudden, unexpected things happening, I really got this because that moon, which is trine Uranus, is also conjunct the south node. I just got this sudden removals of some sort coming about. That's what I get at this whole thing. Now, I did do an actual video on all 4 eclipses in 2025. So the eclipses happen in March and September. And they're really important eclipses, all of them actually. But this one in particular is a big one because in Virgo, because it's got a companion eclipse, a new moon eclipse that happens in September, the latter part of September 2025. So look to what happens here let's just say the first half of in March 2025, especially regarding what Virgo is ruled by, and that's Mercury. So that means communications, messages, important information, important facts. Pay attention to what comes up at this eclipse, because it's going to reveal a new beginning the latter part of September 2025, right? When we have our second eclipse in Virgo, but that one in September will be a new moon. On the 15th of March, Mercury now goes retrograde, and it goes retrograde at 9 Aries, 35 minutes. So, as of the 15th of March, I'm just remembering Julius Caesar and things like that, and, beware the Ides of March type thing. We both have Venus and now Mercury going retrograde mid-month. So we know that retrogrades can slow things down. It can ask us to reflect. It can scramble communications sometimes. So I would say all the above is going to apply to things, not only Mercury related, which are communications, certainly any kind of contract, that sort of thing, you got to look at very carefully. It's always recommended that if you can, don't sign a contract during a Mercury retrograde. Sometimes you just can't, right? You got to still live your life. But I would say if you were organizing and negotiating this contract, say, way prior to the Mercury retrograde, but now you're going to sign it on the Mercury retrograde, I would say that that's probably okay. I personally would still try to avoid it if I can. But because everything happened prior to Mercury going retrograde, if that's the case with you, it's probably going to be okay. The next thing we have happening on the 20th of March at 2:02 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time is going to be the spring equinox. And basically that is the sun going to 0 degrees of Aries, 0 minutes. And this is also the celebration of the astrological new year as well. What we have is the moon at 6 degrees of Sagittarius, 21 minutes. I love that moon. It's optimistic, it's positive, and it's happy. So there may be a lot of optimism around the spring equinox. A lot of emotional happiness for some people, especially if you've got, say, something in Sagittarius that's around, let's say, 5, 6, or 7 degrees of Sagittarius. There could be some nice things coming for you for the next 3 months from the 20th of March. So we also have the Neptune and North Node conjunct in Pisces. And because we've got the sun at 0 degrees of Aries, it also is conjunct. So I see this as potentially very inspirational, that we may feel inspired with regards to our collective destiny. The destiny part is the North Nodes. The Neptune is our inspiration. And certainly if you've got anything in the arts, music, dance, even film, that type of thing, this could be a very positive time period, starting at the spring equinox for, say, about 3 months or so. But the other thing that Neptune does, of course, is it dissolves things, and it also can cast a cloud or a confusing type energy around. So that although there may be some happy, optimistic times emotionally, there may be also this sort of reticence about, yeah, but I'm really not sure where our collective destiny is going. It's not clear to me. At the spring equinox, we also have Mars widely trine Saturn. This is a good thing. Trines are always positive. And so this is basically taking positive, forward-moving energy, Mars, together with Saturn, which is our rules, our regulations, those experts. So there may be some expert movement forward as a result of something that those that are experts say, now's the time to go ahead. Now's the time to move forward. So it's coming from more the old institutions as opposed to new ones, but it's certainly people who know the rules and regulations are saying, go, this is the time to do it. So the second eclipse of March is going to be the final eclipse in Aries, because as you recall, the past 18 months or so, we've had eclipses in both Aries and Libra. This one is in Aries. It's a new moon, which bodes well, and is at 9 degrees of Aries, 00 minutes on the 29th of March at 3:58 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now, the ruler of this eclipse is Mars. So we look to say, well, where is Mars? Mars is square Chiron. And so at this eclipse, I really do believe there's going to be some health issues that escalate, right? The Mars part is escalating. The square is difficulties and Chiron is health. So we're going to have to take a look at what happens at this time. But that is what I see happening here. We also, though, nicely have a sextile between Saturn and Uranus. So this could see new, unique ideas to old problems. Well, hopefully those new, unique ideas to old problems is to do, or has to do, with the health issues that are going to pop up here. Mars, again, sextiling Uranus, basically supports, it's a supportive thing here, where it actually says, you know, what have we got going on here that's we need to break free from? So the breaking free is Uranus, and the Mars is energy to make it us break free. Opportunities to break free. Opportunities for independence. Right? And then Mars also squares Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith can mean different things. A lot of times it'll say it's like the more difficult side of the feminine. But it can also just represent an energy of, I don't care what you think, I'm going to do what I want to do. And, you know, this whole thing of willfully doing something, right? Now, supporting that whole thing that I just spoke about with Mars and Black Moon Lilith is a yod. So we have a yod at this final eclipse in Aries. At its base, we have Saturn at 24 of Pisces, Uranus at 24 of Taurus, pointing to Black Moon Lilith, up there at about 23 of Libra. And so this is really, again, emphasizing this surprising, Uranus, willful, Black Moon Lilith, actions from the old guard. That's it. So this yod is standing out in relief or in neon, a neon sign, saying, you're going to have to get over this. You're going to have to work this through. And you're going to have these energies, though, that are saying, nah, I want to do it my way. And poof, surprising things coming up. But these are generated from the old guard because Saturn is involved here, right? So there may be some big upset, too, regarding old existing institutions as well as old and existing rules and regulations. So on the 30th of March, one more thing here, right? We have Neptune, ingress to Aries. Now, if we look at the last time we had Neptune in Aries, there were a few things going on. It's around 1861. We had the U.S.-American Civil War start. We interestingly also had the unification of Germany and Italy. And then we also have to ask, well, what does Neptune in Aries mean? And there's a few things. It's purposeful action, but also reaching for our individual dreams. And I really like that. In terms of what may evolve over Neptune in Aries, we may see AI increasing dramatically here and really evolving into something quite sophisticated. But also, when we look at Neptune, this can be religious stuff, right? And Aries is all about war. So I'm also thinking there may be some elements of a holy war going on as well with this Neptune going into Aries at the end of March. Let's hope that instead that Neptune can represent spirituality and that we can all take on the mantle of being more spiritual individuals and taking responsibility for emanating that, right? So let's just do a little peek of April. April is going to be a little less dramatic than March, but we do have both Mercury and Venus going direct at 26 and 24 degrees of Pisces respectively, which I think that's good. So expect maybe some resolution in different things, maybe money matters or anything to do with women. And then the moons we have in April are a full moon at 23 Libra and a new moon at the end of April at 7 degrees of Taurus. All right, let's move on next to the sun signs and our ascendants. You pick. I suggest you listen or watch for both. So Leo, that full moon in Virgo is in your second house. So second house, generally we talk about the income that you earn, but it's also your values, your possessions, how people value you, what you think of yourself, that type of thing. So all these things can be up as a big illumination of some sort. For some Leos, you may actually end a source of income by ending a job. Now, the other thing is, on a positive side of this, is that you end one source of income, but you're taking up another source of income at the same time. After all, this is an eclipse. But there's going to be some big spotlight put on the money that you earn and who you are in terms of value. So there may be some Leos that at this full moon decide, hey, I'm going to negotiate for more money in my job because I'm just not being valued enough. You know, in our present way, the way we value people in careers and jobs is how much money they make, generally speaking. I'm not saying praise won't go a long way, but certainly we all have to live. So there may be a lot of discussions up about that. You may bring up important facts. In fact, this would be a good thing for you to do, Leo. Bring up all the salient and important facts that support you getting a raise, right? Don't forget, that's important to say, why should you get the raise? Maybe have a whole timeline of all these extra things that you did over the past, 6 months or so that say you're doing way over what the job description is and you'd like to be rewarded for it. Nothing wrong with asking, right? But I think overall, this shines a light on your value. That's what I think is good, where you're going to realize at this eclipse how valuable you really are. Now, when we look at that new moon in Aries, well, that's a fellow fire sign. So that means you get this positive trine happening, and it affects your 9th house, Leo. And so there's going to be a few things here. There's going to be a new beginning with regards to a legal matter that's going to positively work out your way, Leo. For others, you may have a new start by, maybe starting a Ph.D. program or a master's program. For others, you may decide to do this fabulous trip, right? Because travel is very much part of the 9th house. Travel, especially with long distance to foreign lands type travel. And I mean, it could even mean relocating, Some Leos are taking the initiative to relocate to a foreign land, or vice versa, come back from a foreign land and start new again in your actual homeland, right? Publishing is also the 9th house, so there's going to be some Leos that'll be publishing. And it doesn't mean that you have to publish this big tome of a book. It could mean that you've been working on a proposal of some sort or some SOP of some sort, and now it's ready to go and be published, right? So that all could be up for some Leos as well. Now, next year, unbelievably, 2026, Leo, you're going to have eclipses starting in your sign, as well as Aquarius. In fact, you've got a really cool eclipse at 20 degrees of Leo in August of 2026, something to really look forward to in terms of big turnarounds for you, right? Anyway, you've got a pretty good outlook here. In terms of the eclipses, yeah, I would say this is very positive for you. There's no negative things really surrounding this for you, Leo. Take care. All right, everybody. That just about wraps up what I have to say about March. Wow, just a packed month. I'm just going to remind you again that I did do a whole video on all 4 eclipses in March and September and all many details about what I think of them. The video is below. I will still cover, at least to some extent, in my monthly videos, the eclipses as well. So you don't have to go there. I will still cover it in my monthlies. But if you want a lot more details, I'd go to the actual video on it. I wish everybody the best of luck in March. It's going to be lots of twists and turns, is all I got to say. And if you do want your chart done, you know, I love doing it. All my services are below. I think most people can afford something in there. I'd be delighted to hear from you. If you've got any comments, especially if you've got comments to say, oh yeah, last time I had this, or say you comment as you have one of these eclipses in March and you say, oh wow, I just want to let you know what happened to me. I think all my viewers and my actual listeners like to hear and read that type of thing as well. So I encourage you to comment. All right, everybody, sending you lots of love. Take care of yourself, and bye for now.